Hi guys, welcome to Education College's Selective Preparation Power Reading Test 1. First, we will be reading Extract A. Extract A reads, "It would seem to be a quite natural thing if humans treated others in the same way as they would like to be treated themselves. The maxim, do unto others as you would have them do to you, rings as true today as it has in years past. Regrettably, in our modern, fast-paced society, too often courtesy and consideration are casualties. The use of the two most common words denoting courtesy, please and thank you, are often missing from some people's vocabularies. Motorists fill their vehicles, rush into the service station, and with barely an acknowledgement of the existence of the till operator, mumble almost incoherently and pass over the cash or credit card. A customer in a restaurant places an order and waits for service. It is a busy time and the food is finally delivered. Instead of understanding that busy times can mean delays, a discourteous customer gives the wait person a tirade of abuse because of the slow service, when, in reality, the wait person often has absolutely no control on the preparation of their meal. This is more than discourtesy and can be only described as rudeness." Okay, next, Extract B reads, "Having been the victim of a medium road rage incident, it is this type of behavior and common sense action that would do with a hard-hitting article. It seems as if, from surveys, that drivers most clearly dislike tailgating, improper lane changing, and failure to merge correctly. The article could include comments from drivers and the message that such behaviors often triggers equally discourteous actions from other motorists. The emphasis should be on the adoption of courteous behavior on the part of all road users. Obviously, these practices are a source of irritation to almost everyone. These types of behaviors should be labeled as not only discourteous, but really antisocial. Driving can be a stressful activity, particularly in heavy traffic due to roadworks, but courtesy to others can reduce such stresses. In the common sense category, the improper use of mobile phones and the lunacy of texting while driving should be emphasized. Far too many lives are lost on the roads each year. Courtesy and common sense are required in much larger doses than is evident on the roads today." Next, Extract C reads, "The increase in non-communicable diseases like heart disease and diabetes are obvious. Smoking, what you eat, how much alcohol you drink, and whether you are physically active or not are all things you can control. So it's not surprising that efforts to improve health have focused on changing people's behaviors related to these things. However, this approach oversimplifies the complexity of the factors that influence people's health and ignores the powerful commercial interests that may not want people to change their behavior to healthier ways of living. Changing health behaviors is perceived to be an attractive policy approach. However, it should only be noted that efforts at individual behavior change have not been very successful. Despite there being extensive scientific literature and evidence-based guidelines, policies that address alcohol misuse, obesity prevention, and physical activity promotion have only limited success. Upon examination, it has been found that the problem is not a lack of acknowledgement about how to change health-related behavior, especially in the case of smoking, where lots of progress has been made. Rather, the failure lies with policymakers and politicians who have not put effective science-based approaches into practice, instead relying on anecdote, gut feeling, and common sense." Next, we'll be reading Extract D. Extract D reads, "If you're a dog owner or if you know someone who is, you're probably aware that dogs can be trained to perform a variety of tricks and behaviors, such as sitting, begging, rolling over, or even playing dead. These learned behaviors can be quite impressive and show that dogs are capable of significant learning. In general, a learned behavior is one that an organism develops as a result of experience. This is in contrast to innate behaviors, which are genetically hardwired and can be performed without any prior experience or training. Of course, some behaviors have both learned and innate elements. For instance, zebra finches have a genetic predisposition to learn a particular song. but the particular song they sing is influenced by what they hear from their fathers. Learned behaviors, even though they have innate components or underpinnings, allow an individual organism to adapt to changes in the environment. Consider the examples of prairie dogs, who give an alarm call in response to the sound of approaching predators or human footsteps. However, over time, the prairie dog became habituated to the sound of human footsteps as they repeatedly experienced the sound without anything bad happening. As a result, they eventually stopped giving the alarm call in response to footsteps. In this example, habituation is specific to the sound of human footsteps, as the prairie dogs still respond to the sound of potential predators. Now we'll be looking through the question. It reads, read the 4 extracts below on the theme of behavior. For questions 21 to 30, choose the option A, B, C, or D, which you think best answers the question. Which extract? Before we answer each question, and I'll show you how to go about answering each question, we are going to make notes about each extract to make it easier for us to understand. Remember, extract A here was talking about manners. You can see that they were talking about here courtesy as well. And they used the word consideration. And they were talking about verbalizing the words such as thank you, sorry, you're welcome. So we can use communication and language. Okay, now we'll make notes for extract B. Extract B here was talking about road accidents. So I'll just write accidents. And what did they say about behavior? They said here it's about driving. They said it's about here. These type of behaviors should be labeled as not only discourteous, but really antisocial. So rather than like extract A was talking about communication and language, extract B is showing it through actions. They were also talking about advocacy. So advocacy is talking about standing up for what you believe in, and here they're talking about how standing up and believing in stuff as monitoring the use of mobile phones, no texting while driving, etc. Next, extract C, they're talking about diseases, but non-communicable diseases. So I'm just going to underline that instead of writing it or highlight it there. They're also talking about health behaviors instead. So while we're going back quickly to extract B, you can see that it's talking about safety behaviors. Okay, extract D is talking about animal behaviors, so talking about dogs and birds. And they were also talking about genetics, and they were talking about how often sometimes it comes with something might come innately, or it just might come because of experience and habituation. So I'm just going to underline those words. So there's habituation over there, and then innate is over here. Okay, so let's look at question 1. It says, which extract gives evidence of how behaviors can be altered due to repeated exposure? So like I just answered here, it's about habituation, which is extract D. A. The second question reads, argues for more sensible behavior to improve safety. So if you go back to the notes, it's extract B, because extract B was talking about safety behaviors. So we can write B. The third question reads, refers to a commonly said rule of conduct regarding the behavior towards others. So remember, if it's talking about others, it's not extract D, because extract D was talking about this in animals. Extract D was talking about health behaviors. So it must be extract A or extract B, because they're both about interactions with others. But it is unlikely to be extract B, because remember, extract B was talking about safety. So it must be extract A. And you can see it here that they were talking especially with the please and thank you, and how it was about communication and language. A. The fourth question reads, suggests that there are many factors to consider when attempting to change behavior. So here, it's a little different, but we know that it is unlikely to be A because A was not talking about how there's many factors to saying thank you and please. They're talking about how this should come naturally to people. It's unlikely to be extract B as well because they're talking about safety, and they're not talking exactly here about changing safety, but to improve safety. So we know it must be extract C or D. So let's quickly go back to the question, attempting to change behavior and many factors. And we can see here that it is extract C, where they're talking about health behaviors, and they're talking about how there are many different factors such as smoking, what you eat, how much alcohol you drink, and whether you are physically active or not, etc. And then the fifth question reads, says that there has been a deterioration in behavior towards others. So again, extract A. How do we know that it's extract A? Because extract A was talking about communication, language, and interaction between people. The sixth question reads, mentions that there are behaviors that are inherent. And we know that this is in extract D. Remember I mentioned earlier as a note that extract D is about genetics, and they're talking about innate and habituation. And inherent means innate, so it must be extract D. Next question reads, implies that there are groups that benefit from self-harming behaviors. So let's try looking about some self-harming behaviors here. It could be extract B because they're talking about accidents and road rage, but it is unlikely to be extract A because they're talking about communication and language between each other, such as manners as please and thank you. Here we can see that it's most likely to be prevalent with extract C because they're talking about factors such as smoking, alcohol, which are things that are self-harming. So here we can put extract C. The next question reads, list actions that are considered to be improper. So remember, improper means something that is not right or not correct. It could be like self-harming behaviors, but since we already answered a question like that, we can assume that it's unlikely to be the same answer. It's unlikely to be extract D because remember they're talking about animal behaviors, and they're talking about how there are these positive things that animals are learning, and they're also unlikely to be extract A. So it's extract B here, and we know again it's not extract A, improper, because while manners are a proper thing and not having manners is an improper thing, these are not actions, and the actions that are improper from extract B was things like texting while driving, etc. The next question reads, describe situations which emphasize the extract stance on behavior. So this is one where the extract is agreeing with whatever statement they're making. So we know that it's unlikely to be extract D, as extract D is mostly sounding like a discussion where they're simply just talking about innate and habituation. Unlikely to be extract C, as they have a non-biased sort of omniscient view on this whole topic. Unlikely to be extract B, while they says here most things are common sense. Here it is likely to be extract A. They use words such as regrettably, fast-paced, too often. So here it is the answer A. For our last question reads, is critical of people that implement baseless methods in an attempt to alter behavior. So again, unlikely to be extract A because extract A is not talking about how we must alter behavior, but instead pointing out that there are people who are rude. It is unlikely to be extract B, as we are not talking about baseless methods. So here it could be between extract C or D. D is not talking about altering behavior though, so we only have the possible answer, option C, left. Thank you guys for coming to Educating College's Selective Preparation Power Reading Test 29. I'll see you guys next time.